If you're putting in the miles but still seeing little progress and you're constantly feeling drained, you're not alone. The missing piece is probably your refueling. On October 8th from 12 to 1 p.m. Central, I invite you to join Between the Miles, Strategic Refueling for Endurance Athletes. In this online masterclass, I will show you how to fuel smarter outside of your workouts so you can accelerate recovery, shake off that lingering fatigue, and finally maximize your performance gains without adding stress to your already busy life. I'm sharing practical strategies for setting macronutrient targets and fueling on rest days. You'll also see real-life athlete case studies and discover meal and snack ideas you can implement immediately. Registration is only $25, and if you can't make it live, no worries. It's recorded, and you'll get lifetime access to the replay. Head to the link in the show notes to get registered today, and let's get you fueling in a way that truly supports the training you love. I'm Alex Larson, dietitian, Ironman finisher, and host of Endurance Eats, the podcast where we break down the science of endurance nutrition and turn it into clear, practical nutrition advice to revolutionize how you think about fueling your body. So grab a seat, or keep moving if you're out training, and let's get started. Welcome back to the Endurance Eats podcast, and here we are wrapping up Season 2. You have just me today, where I'm getting up close and personal on the happenings of my life, business, my training, and my own nutrition. The update I gave last was at the end of Season 1 back in March, episode number 15, and so much has happened since then. As fast as it flew by, it also was a very big journey for me personally. First of all, hosting this podcast continues to bring me so much joy. The messages that I get each week from listeners truly just makes my day. I was just telling my husband about an athlete who emailed me from Slovenia who absorbs everything that I say to help them with their running, or the ultra runner who messaged me on Instagram who ran a 50-miler and listened to Season 2 throughout her entire race. You guys, I cannot express how honored I am to be in your earbuds. I looked up the analytics, and the podcast has been listened to over 100,000 times. When I saw that number, I had to take a solid 10 minutes to process that. There's lots of feelings that were coursing through my body, but ultimately it made me think about how I can continue to improve and bring you even more valuable content to support your endurance goals. So please do not hesitate to message or email me if you have topic ideas of things you want to hear about in future episodes. And if you see me out in the wild, like at a race, please say hi. I have had a few people say hi at some races this summer, and funnily enough, it was my voice that they recognized first. When I am outside my home, I just assume that no one knows me or what I do. I'm actually a very extroverted person living in disguise as an introverted person. So do not be shy. I would love to chat. So please, if you see me, say hi and introduce yourself. And speaking of races, it has been a year since I started training on the bike. The learning curve has been steep. It was certainly really easy to spend all of those months just riding the trainer, following that line on the trainer road screen, having all of my fuel and water just sitting there in front of me on the table. But once I started riding outside, it became a completely new set of skills that I needed to build up. And since this is a brand new sport for me, my goal for the summer really was to just build experience. I kicked things off by heading out to Oregon in April for the Special Blend Gravel Camp, where I got my first taste of gravel riding. I am so thankful that I went out there because I learned a ton. I really built my confidence up as a newbie, and it helped me very much so in my first race at the end of May. I raced at the Grand du Nord in Grand Marais, Minnesota, gorgeous little town along Lake Superior. I ended up 6th in the 18 to 39 age group, which I was very pleased with. The mass start and navigating the nerves and the adrenaline were definitely a huge learning part of that race. I also dropped my chain at the bottom of the hill, so I definitely lost a couple minutes there. It was a great first race experience, and I was able to take what I learned there into a last minute entry a couple weeks later. I raced a 20-mile race in Cable, Wisconsin. I went in with one goal of just practicing positioning. I found pretty early on 2 older men who were working together. They were at my pace. I stuck to their wheel almost the entire race. We passed at least a dozen women, and I ended up on the podium, finishing second. My kids thought it was so cool that their mom got a trophy, and it's sitting here behind my desk. And with where I was in my training, that shorter distance definitely suited me. And it was that reason why I hired my dear friend and my friend of the podcast, Serena Bishop Gordon, to coach me this summer. I love Trainer Road and I'm back to using it during the off season, but I needed a coach to help me navigate training outdoors and preparing for races. Serena is very much a human first and athlete second kind of coach, which, if you know my life, is definitely the type of coach that I need. We focused heavily on building up my endurance for the longer 40 to 60 mile races. It took me a week to learn to keep my heart rate below 140 for a true endurance effort. I had to literally set an alert on my bike computer to tell me when my heart rate got too high. Those first few days, it beeped a lot at me. So Serena definitely increased the duration of my rides. While I would have sections of tempo or threshold or VO2 max at intervals, we would also then start off with a 30-minute endurance effort before, and then often there was a 30-minute or longer endurance effort after the work portion of the ride. It was very effective, and I saw my fitness increase significantly. I raced in North Dakota mid-July. The nerves definitely got the best of me at that race, but I finished fourth, and fourth overall female. Was very happy with that, and I'm definitely going back to that race in 2026. That was the Nepomuk Gnarly in Pizik, North Dakota. It is a gem of a race, and I came away with so much learning about what I needed to work on with my mental game, and then also how to better handle my nutrition. For races, I rely a lot on drinking my carbs through my hydration pack, but for those longer races, the weight of a full 2-liter pack was really adding a lot of strain to my back. My lower back is much more comfortable with just a liter of fluid on it and then having additional fluids in my bottles. So I'm going to change that up for 2026 and then also focus on making sure I get a lot more carbs within the first 30, 45 minutes of the race to get way ahead of my nutrition, both through the concentration of carbs in my hydration pack and then through some higher carb gels. Once I got into August and September, I definitely could feel more strain on my mental health. The toll of training 8 to 10 hours a week, running my business, shifting into that back to school time with my kids, it was a lot. I had plans to fit in a fall race in early October, but right before that, I flew back to Oregon for another special blind gravel camp at Mackenzie Bridge. And these camps are always a bit of more of an emotional journey for me than a physical fitness journey. I get to step away from my role as a mom and just get to be Alex. And the second day of camp, I woke up that morning and I just felt off. As I was getting ready to go tackle the big day of riding, emotionally, I cracked. The only way I can describe it is the floodgates unleashed. I had a lot of tears and just a lot of recognizing how tired I was of everything that I had been carrying over the past couple months. My husband, he transitioned his career earlier this year, so I have temporarily been the sole income source for our family, which was a very new level of weight on my shoulders. I have big goals for myself as an athlete, and as much as I try to be patient with all of this, I also want to make sure that I'm continuing to see progress. And then on top of that, making sure that I'm a present mom to my kids and navigating the constant stream of appointments and activities they have going on. So it's just been a lot. And to the athletes out there that are juggling all of the things, I see you, I'm with you, and you are not alone. The riding portion of camp involved lots of climbing, which is definitely what I do best. And then there's lots of technical riding. And I quickly realized that my bike handling skills still have a lot of room for improvement. And I'm being kind to myself there. I am still really stiff on the bike. I have a lot of fear. I'm overly cautious. There's a lot of work to do here in that technical riding skill. When I returned back from Oregon, I went to test out some of the rougher sections of that fall race I was signed up for. And about halfway through the first rough section, I hated it. There was no way that I could feel comfortable racing on a rough ATV snowmobile trail. And my goal as a gravel cyclist is number one, stay safe, and number two, have fun. And this just didn't check either of my boxes. So I skipped the race. I felt really good about that decision because I heard about multiple riders crashing and getting hurt in that rough descent section of the course. My skills just aren't ready for that type of gravel, and I plan to be much more selective in the races that I do next year. to make sure that the courses align with what my strengths are. So fast gravel roads with rolling hills is 100% my jam and what I enjoy most. So I'm back in the off season. I definitely took a few weeks of what my friend Jonathan Lee at Trainer Road dubbed Marie Kondo style training, where you are just training for the pure joy of it. And now I'm going to be returning back to a Trainer Road specific plan, getting back into that easy routine of just jumping on the bike trainer in these colder months in Minnesota, catching up on some TV and movie series that I can't watch around my kids. So I'm looking forward to that. I did continue to work on gradually seeing body composition improvements throughout the summer. Since my last update in March, I've lost another 4 pounds, but there was definitely some muscle gains in that time too. So I think total I'm around 18 pounds since about 5 months postpartum after having my third kid. Very, very proud of that. I might consider doing a DEXA scan in the future just to get an idea of where I'm at specifically, in muscle mass and body fat percentage and bone density. When I had set that weight goal 2 years ago and I hit it this summer, I had shared the news with Mary. I was very excited, and I really appreciated her asking me if I was going to keep going because it had crossed my mind. I'm about 5 pounds away from where my weight was when I did Ironman Wisconsin 11 years ago, and I think that would be a very doable, healthy weight for me, and it would help me continue climbing, on the bike, have a stronger power to weight ratio. So we will see. I'm not setting a deadline on getting there, but it will be something that I continue to work towards through my nutrition. So stay tuned for the next update and see where I'm at. Our one-on-one athletes, they also continue to help inspire me, and I can really relate to their goals for wanting that leaner, stronger body composition. Between Hannah, Mary, and I, we have worked with over 140 athletes this year so far. We continue to say over and over that we have the best job ever. I do have a new project that will be launching very soon. I'm not quite ready to share, but make sure that you're following on social and you get my weekly email newsletter. That way you will be the first to know, and you don't want to miss it. It is really fun. Thank you for joining me in season 2. This is where I will take a break from the longer episode content. If you have any topic ideas or ways I can improve the podcast, please reach out. I would love to hear from you. I'm going to be taking feedback and getting a head start on season 3, which I'm targeting to launch in January 26th. I can't thank you enough for all of your kind words and support this year. I'm just blown away. And keep an eye out. I'll be sharing a few mid-season bonus episodes too to help you continue fueling that fire. Until then, happy training, and I will see you in the next episode.